Welcome to Phantom Tales from Vietnam, where ghost stories, spiritual encounters, and mysteries from all three regions of Vietnam are brought to life. In today's episode, we invite you to listen to the story, Grandmother Rose from the Dead, Possessed by a Demon Spirit. What caused the soul to be unable to move on? Who is occupying the body of the deceased? A journey to find a spiritual master, perform sacred rites, and confront dark forces is about to begin right now. The story begins. That afternoon, I had just returned from a memorial ceremony on my father's side when my phone buzzed. It was a message from Tu, a nephew on my wife's side. I wasn't particularly close to him. We'd only met a few times during family gatherings, but this time his message was urgent. Uncle, something strange is happening at home. It's really terrifying. Dad, I don't know who else to turn to. Please, I need to meet you. The message was strange, and it came with an unsettling feeling. I agreed to meet him at a cafe near my place in Tan Binh. It was drizzling then. The cafe was quiet, with only a few scattered patrons. Tu arrived a few minutes after me. He looked gaunt, like a walking corpse, dark circles under his eyes, sunken cheeks. As soon as he sat down, he gulped down a glass of water, then looked at me, his voice trembling. Uncle, I'm not sure the thing living in my house right now is still my grandma. I froze. What are you saying? Is your grandma seriously ill? He swallowed hard, his dazed eyes staring out at the rain. She died. But not really. I don't even know how to explain it. Let me tell you from the beginning. Tu's grandmother was 87. Small and gentle, she had lived her whole life in Long An, only moving to Saigon to live with her children and grandchildren in recent years. About a month ago, she suddenly suffered a stroke and fell into a deep coma. Doctors at Cho Ray Hospital told the family to prepare themselves. She was only alive thanks to machines. After 2 days in the ICU, the family decided to take her home so she could pass away among loved ones. Tu said on the day she was brought home, everyone was emotional. She lay still on the bed, motionless, her pulse weak, barely breathing. Then, on the third night, she stopped breathing. The funeral was arranged properly. The family chose a coffin with a glass window so relatives could see her one last time. Her body was prepared for burial according to tradition. Rice scattered, joss paper included, talisman pressed to her forehead, everything carefully done. On the third night, precisely at 3 a.m., the so-called spiritual hour in folk beliefs, Tu's father woke up to light incense at the altar. As he passed the coffin in the living room, he stopped in his tracks. She opened her eyes. Those dull, murky eyes stared back at him through the glass, alive. Tu's father recounted in horror, I thought I was sleepwalking, but her eyes were wide open. Then I heard it, very faint, hoarse. Let me out, I'm not dead. He screamed. The whole house rushed out. Everyone witnessed a chilling scene. The coffin was shaking as if someone inside was struggling. From within came groaning, then loud banging against the lid. I'm not dead! You bastards trying to bury me? Open up! After a few stunned seconds, Tu's father mustered his courage and opened the coffin lid. She sat up like a spring. Her eyes were pure white, hair wild, skin pale like a long-dead corpse. She screamed, cursed everyone. You bastards! You trying to kill me? I'm still alive and you put me in a coffin? Everyone was overwhelmed with joy, thinking it was a miracle that she had been saved by divine grace. But that joy didn't last long. Tu began noticing strange changes. She refused to eat porridge or rice. She demanded raw meat. At first, everyone thought she was delirious, so they ignored it. But the next night, the family turned pale when they heard a duck screeching outside. They ran out to find her squatting, gripping a duck with both hands, biting into its neck like a wild beast. Blood splattered everywhere as she devoured it hungrily, her mouth covered in blood. Her eyes gleamed with feral rage. No one dared go near. They just watched from a distance. From that day on, she only ate raw meat, chicken, duck, pork, as long as it was raw and fresh. Each week she consumed nearly 25 kilograms of raw meat. Tu said one time she even pulled out a bloody bone and crunched it like a dog. Worse still, she no longer slept. At night, she wandered the house, her bare feet slapping against the floor. One night, Tu woke to find her sitting at the head of his bed, stroking his face and whispering, Are you asleep, or are you about to be like me? From that night on, Tu lived in a nightmare. Her monstrous behaviors were no longer odd occurrences, they had become routine. Every night at exactly 3 a.m., she would burst into maniacal laughter, the sound echoing through the rooms, growing louder and higher pitched, as if broadcast from deep underground. No one in the house dared to sleep. One night, Tu's mother opened her bedroom door and saw the grandmother crawling upside down on the ceiling. Her hands and feet clung to the wooden joints as she moved like a lizard, eyes staring wide open down below. When spotted, she dropped to the floor like a bat and dashed back to her room. Another time, she climbed the stairs using only one leg. Her steps were uneven, but eerily steady. She mumbled something as she went, in a language no one understood, the sound like the groaning of someone being strangled. The family started calling psychiatrists. Someone suggested taking her to the hospital, but before they could act, disaster struck. Fan, the dog they'd raised since their days in the countryside, was strangled to death by her, just because it barked when she passed by. The scene was horrifying. She walked into the yard, quietly picked up Fan, and snapped its neck barehanded. Blood splattered everywhere. She even licked the blood from the dog's tongue, her eyes glazed over like an addict's. After that, the grandfather, her husband when she was alive, suddenly collapsed in the bathroom. The doctors found no sign of stroke, no physical trauma, but his pulse skipped 3 beats. They shook their heads. Before dying, he only managed to whisper to Tu's father, "That's not her." Just a few days later, little Oot, Tu's younger sister, suffered a seizure in the middle of the night. When taken to the hospital, the doctors suspected epilepsy, but during her delirium, she screamed. She scratched me, she licked my face. The family was terrified, truly terrified. At this point, I, the one listening to Tu's story, could no longer sit still. As someone who had studied spiritual phenomena for years, I realized that the thing living in their house was no longer grandma. It was a Queenyup Trang, a form of possession by a demonic spirit, extremely rare but incredibly dangerous. Folklore says, if a person dies before their appointed time, or if protective rituals are not done properly, and a living being, a person, dog, cat, or any creature with spiritual energy, jumps over the corpse, then a demon can enter the body and animate it. But that isn't the person anymore. It's a demon wearing human skin. It needs a body to survive, needs flesh and blood to sustain itself, and often brings calamity upon the entire family line. I asked Tu, when your grandma was prepared for burial, did anything strange happen? Did any creature jump over her body? Tu went pale, trembling as he recalled. That day there was a black cat. We chased it away, but then it vanished. That night when Grandma was already in the coffin, my little brother said he saw a cat's tail under the coffin, but thought he imagined it. I was speechless. That was a clear omen of Queenyup Trang. There was no time to waste. I told Tu he had to find a powerful spiritual master. But it wasn't that simple. I had heard of someone named Thầy Ba Den, a master known for breaking curses, exorcising spirits, and banishing demons, famous in the South, but reclusive with no known location. He had no phone, no fixed address. To find him, one had to rely on connections in the secret spiritual circles. Through a few old contacts, I was referred to a woman named Mutton, who had studied briefly under Baden. After several calls and appointments, Mutton finally whispered. He lives now in an old wooden house near Kanza. He doesn't welcome visitors, but hearing something like this, he might come out. The next morning, I, Tumun, and another friend rented a car and headed straight for Kanza. The road was rough, forests dense and winding. A misty rain fell like fog. Each turn felt like slipping deeper into the underworld. By midday, we arrived. It was a low stilt house tucked deep inside the mangrove forest. The door was shut tight. I called out several times with no response. Just as we were about to leave, an old man with long white hair, dressed in a brown cloth robe and holding a bamboo cane, emerged from behind the house. His face was kind, but his eyes were sharp as blades. He didn't ask many questions, just stared at Tu, then said curtly, "The boy is tainted with dark energy. Your house is under Queenyup Trang, a serious one. We must go immediately." Tu dropped to his knees, begging. The old man nodded, but he made one thing clear. This won't be easy. This isn't just about exorcising a demon. It hasn't just possessed a body. It's building a nest. turning your home into a refuge for other malevolent spirits. Hearing that sent chills down my spine. That evening, our group returned to Tu's house with Taiba Din. The atmosphere was heavy and oppressive. Though it hadn't rained, the ground in front of the house was damp as if it had been soaked. There was a strange stench, not feces, not rot, but a blend of dried blood and burned incense. The grandmother was still locked inside the old kitchen out back. Tu's father had barricaded the door with iron bars and double locks. Still, every night, they could hear her rasping through the cracks, sometimes whispering, sometimes screaming, "I'm hungry. You all know I'm hungry." As soon as he stepped into the house, Master Bajan stopped in the middle of the main room. He closed his eyes, fingers moving over a string of prayer beads. Just seconds later, he opened his eyes wide and said coldly, "Your house has become a demon's nest." I was stunned, and Tu trembled like a leaf. I asked, "What do you mean a demon's nest, Master?" He replied, "It's a place where dark spirits gather like a swarm of bees. It's not just one soul. Many others have been lured in by the thing inside your grandma's body. They're nesting. If we don't act now, the entire neighborhood will suffer, not just your family." That very night, he requested specific items: sticky rice, rock salt, a bowl of black dog's blood, black candles, and most importantly, an old bronze mirror used to reveal spirits. He drew a circle in the yard, pricked Tu's finger to draw blood, then used it to paint talismans around the base of the old mulberry tree out front. According to him, the mulberry tree marked the boundary between the living and the dead. Secure the tree, and you secure the spirit gate. Tu and I helped him set up the altar, light incense, and candles. A cold wind began to blow, unnaturally frigid for a May night. Suddenly from the kitchen came a loud banging, someone slamming the walls violently. Then came Grandma's voice shouting, "You bastards brought that dog priest to destroy my house! I'll tear you all apart!" Master Badin stood firm. He placed the bronze mirror facing the northwest, the spirit gate direction. Then he burned talismans, chanting in an ancient language, neither Vietnamese nor Sanskrit. The air grew heavier, thicker. I looked into the mirror. My God, there she was, an old woman's reflection floating in midair. Her hair hung loose, eyes glowing red like embers, skin charred black, fingernails grotesquely long. But the most terrifying thing was what loomed behind her. At least 5 or 6 dark figures crawling on all fours, their faces indistinct, groaning endlessly. I screamed. Tu collapsed on the spot. Master Ba barked. "Don't be afraid. Fear gives them power." He immediately scattered salt around the yard and flung the dog's blood toward the kitchen. A blood-curdling scream rang out. Moments later, the kitchen door burst open. Out of the darkness, Grandma stepped forward, no longer recognizable. She moved like a puppet, limping with each step, head tilted to one side, mouth stretched so wide it nearly reached her ears. Her skin was a sickly green, nails jet black, face wrinkled like snake hide. Thick black fluid oozed from her eyes. Master Ba planted a tall ghost-banishing banner into the ground, pulled out a small wooden Kumanthong statue, and placed it at the center of the circle. He said, "This statue once sealed off a demon nest in Phan Thiet. Now we use it to break the blood-bound curse." And then he began the exorcism. As soon as he chanted, she howled. Not a human voice, but like some unearthly beast, like a pig being slaughtered, like bats mating. Sounds that made your brain feel like it would burst. At the same time, the bronze mirror shattered. Black smoke erupted from inside the house. A rancid stench filled the air. The shadowy figures crawled out from the mirror, eyes rolled white, toothless mouths agape. They circled the ring of sticky rice, but they couldn't cross it. Master Ba shouted, "Hold the circle! Don't let the candles go out!" Tu, his father, and I braced against the wind, shielding the flames. Every time the candle flickered, she shrieked again. Suddenly, Master Ba grabbed a copper blade and stepped into the circle. He sliced his own hand, letting the blood drip into the center. Then he planted the wooden statue into the pool of blood. Instantly, a pillar of blue light burst from the ground. She screamed, "No, I'm not done yet. I still have promises to keep. I still have debts to collect." That sentence sent shivers down my spine. Without hesitation, Master Ba flung the towels and splashed the dog's blood straight onto her. She convulsed, body writhing, then collapsed, whispering one word, "Forgive." At that moment, The dark figures disintegrated into smoke, seeping into the soil. The air lightened. The rain stopped. The next morning, following Master Ba's instructions, we dug beneath Grandma's bed. Even though the ritual he warned, a Queenup Trang often leaves behind a tether, something that binds it to the corpse. About 40 centimeters down, we uncovered a cracked human skull, a handful of long white hair, and 2 balls of dirt wrapped in red cloth. According to the master, this was ancient Cambodian sorcery used to reanimate the dead, likely placed by someone with malicious intent. Someone may have cursed her long ago, aiming to bring ruin upon the entire family. Tu, trembling, asked, "Who would do that?" The master simply said, "Not all curses are recent. Some go back generations. Maybe it came from your great-grandmother's time." After the exorcism, Master Ba didn't leave right away. He said, "Banishing a spirit is one thing, but unless we lift the curse, your family will suffer again." This wasn't an ordinary possession. Someone from your own bloodline cursed her long ago. The weight of that statement struck like lightning. Silence fell. Tu's mother sat down on the floor and wept. The next morning, the eldest daughter, Tu's aunt from Sok Trung, arrived. The moment she stepped into the yard, she froze, her face turning pale. She pointed to the mulberry tree and asked, "Did any of you disturb that tree?" Tu nodded. She burst into tears. "I told Mom years ago, don't plant that tree near your bed. It draws spiritual energy like crazy." But she wouldn't listen. Now she can't rest in peace. Master Ba approached her and asked, "Do you recall any major grudges or tragedies in your mother's life? Was she ever harmed?" She hesitated, then said, "There's something the family kept hidden. When she was young, she had a firstborn who died as an infant. People said the neighbor cursed the child out of jealousy. Her husband's business was thriving back then. She secretly exhumed the child's remains and buried them in the garden. Never told anyone. Years later, after her husband died, she grew bitter, reclusive. Every night, she'd go into the garden and whisper prayers. Hearing this, Master Ba sat silently, then spoke. It's possible she kept the child's remains as an offering, or the child's spirit entered her long ago. A child's wrongful death, mixed with her resentment, created a layered curse, extremely hard to lift." He added gravely, "I'll conduct a ritual to guide the soul and break the curse, but it must be on the exact right day with exact rites. One mistake, and no one can save you." He chose the 5th day of the lunar month. According to him, that date aligned with Tit Lo, when the spirit gates open wide, allowing souls to cross if properly guided. The ritual took place in the front yard. Every item was meticulously prepared. 7 oil lamps, 49 incense sticks, a basin of 5-element water, a mat made of bamboo slats, and Grandma's spirit tablet placed at the center. Master Ba wore ceremonial robes. He didn't use bells or drums, just tapped on a piece of rotting wood, each thud echoing like it came from underground. The incense smoke was thick. The wind circled like someone running through the yard. He began chanting, "Namo Amitabha Buddha, spirit of Nguyenti, if you still carry resentment, if karma still binds you, please follow the light and be released." As he burned the spirit tablet, Grandma's form appeared. Not in the yard, but on the roof. Her body floated, hair loose, arms hanging, lips moving. We couldn't hear her, but she seemed to be crying. Tu screamed, "Grandma, please forgive us. We didn't know anything." She looked down, shook her head. A single black tear fell, hitting the concrete with a hiss. Then she spoke, clearly this time, "I can't leave because he hasn't forgiven me yet." Here is the English translation of your final part, staying faithful in tone, structure, and length. Master Ba shouted, "Who is he? Which spirit hasn't been released?" There was no reply. Only the sound of a child crying, echoing from beneath the ground. He immediately pulled out the yin-yang mirror and held it over the offering tray. In its reflection, a naked child with no face could be seen clinging to the old woman's legs. It's her child, the one who died at birth, never passed on. Now he's become a vengeful spirit child. He yelled, "Bring the offering for the lost child spirit, quickly, or mother and child will be bound to each other for eternity." I rushed inside and grabbed the prepared tray, plain white porridge, boiled eggs, candy, and a small child's shirt left in the room. As soon as I placed it in the yard, the wind stopped. The child in the mirror slumped down. The old woman looked at him, then held his hand, and together they ascended into the sky, vanishing into nothingness. After the ritual, it felt like everyone had been brought back to life. The house became light, warm, no longer filled with the smell of blood, no more shadows in the corners. Master Ba packed his things, then sat down with a deep sigh. The dead aren't always gone. Sometimes they condemn themselves, trapped forever in resentment. Don't think death is the end. Many die but never pass on, living forever in darkness. He pulled an ancient coin from his pocket and handed it to Tu. Keep this. If your family ever sees strangers acting oddly, dreams of blood, or flickering lights, go back to the mulberry tree, dig exactly 7 handspans deep, and bury this coin there. If the earth doesn't make a hollow sound, it means you're safe. Then he turned away, climbed onto his creaky bicycle, and disappeared into the night. A few years later, I still kept in touch with Tu. After that incident, his family sold the house and moved elsewhere. The mulberry tree was cut down. The next owners were a couple from the north, barbers by trade. One day I got news. The husband died mysteriously. His wife recalled, the power sockets in the house often burst at night. The cat keeps staring under the bed, and whenever our daughter plays in the yard, she looks up the roof and waves saying, "That lady is watching me." Sometimes, ghosts aren't as frightening as the things people bury. A promise, a grudge, a spirit never guided to peace. Any of these can return. Not for revenge, but to seek justice no one in this life can repay. The Quy Nhật Trang isn't the scariest thing. What truly terrifies is the heart of the living, who let the dead leave this world without peace. Thank you for listening to today's story on Phantom Tales from Vietnam. We hope you'll continue to follow and look forward to the next episodes, filled with more chilling and mysterious spiritual tales. See you in the next story.